Hi, my name is Mike, and I'm here to read a comic. And today's comic is Wonder Woman, issue number 224, dated July 1976, which was the bicentennial year. I'm surprised that DC didn't make mention of it on the cover, because of the two comic book companies, three if you consider Charleston, DC was the one that really hung their hat on, this is the bicentennial year. Take a look at the cover. We see Wonder Woman. She is being held by a couple of Amazonian scrotum heads. This is the only way I could describe these helmets, is that they look like scrotums. And we see that Wonder Woman's own mom has turned on her, declaring, "My daughter Diana is the traitor." Dun, dun, dun. And I think this is by Ernie Chan. I should know his name, but I don't. It looks like it was drawn in 75. This cover, I don't know whether it was specific to this comic. Although inside, they're also wearing these scrotum head helmets. So I'm going to go into it. First, I'm going to talk about this Hostess cupcake ad. It's Superman Saves the Earth. And basically what's happening is this interstellar council has decided that Earth needs to go. Nothing good is going to come up this place. Come on, look who they've elected president. This is not working. We need to get rid of this place. However, Superman interrupts the proceedings, and he's telling him, listen, Earth has a few good things here. And one of them are Hostess cupcakes. So a couple of members of this important delegation, since they can decide the fate of an entire planet, they're taken to this supermarket. They're assured by the store clerk that they're great. Not like he would lie to get a sale. So anyway, the two aliens here, they really enjoy these cupcakes. They're addicted at this point. So Superman's plan was to basically make these guys drug addicts. But what he's pushing is Hostess cupcakes. So these guys, they're going to be high on sugar for quite a while, so they're not going to really bother Earth. The store manager or clerk, he still wants his payment here. He has no plans on chasing them out, but and we see that Superman is saying, "Send the bill to my friend Clark Kent. I'll make that chump pay," and that's it. So anyway, take a look at the splash page. We are told the story is Wonder Woman versus the United States. And the odds against the Amazonian princess are 2 million to 1. So, they're trying to kind of get their readers involved in this, saying, hey, you're one of those 200 million who's declared war on Wonder Woman. And, you have a vested interest in this story. And the writer is Martin Pascoe. The art is by Kurt Swan and Vince Colletta. So all the positives have been erased by Vince's negatives here. Although Vince doesn't do as awful a job as he could have here. And Jill Swartz is the editor. So we see Wonder Woman here. And she is standing up against basically the entire population of the United States.
But we're not going to sit here and listen to you badmouth the United States of America.
And we see signs such as, Amazon killers must pay. And somewhere Jeff Bezos is running. Bomb Paradise Island. Hey, put Epstein Island there. Deport Wonder Woman. And Wonder Woman go home. So yeah, a lot of the sentiments that you're seeing today can be seen in this splash page. And I'm going to turn the page. So the the story starts with Wonder Woman being held in prison here, or at least in jail at the moment. The story gives the impression of continuity, but no, this is a standalone story. But it's making it sound like in the previous issue that you would see in Marvel Comics. But what's happening here is Wonder Woman is answering questions from Lois Lane, and she's basically saying, listen, I'm going to recap the events for the reader, for the viewers, and that is an Air Force jet fighter was kind of flying over the Bermuda Triangle. And at some point, the aircraft was keeping in touch with Mission Control. Apparently, they got a message from the pilot saying that there's some sort of systems failure occurring with the aircraft, and the pilot is not sure of his position. However, the officers at Mission Control, they kind of they use triangulation to sort of find the general area where the plane might have been lost, and they find that it was lost in the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle was something that, for some reason, terrified people in the late 70s. Quicksand terrified people in the late 70s. Cloning terrified people in the late 70s. And there were a few other things, but yeah, the Bermuda Triangle was really captured the public's imagination in 1976. And I'm going to turn the page. So anyway, we're getting this flashback from Wonder Woman about events she didn't experience. So this is really odd, and it turns out that the pilot, he momentarily got control of the aircraft, and he suddenly sees land, and this island appeared out of nowhere. He's seeing Greek architecture, and he's seeing women, lots of women. And he's thinking to himself, this must be Paradise Island. And there are two reasons for that. One, he's seeing Greece without Greeks. And I've had more than one person tell me that would be the perfect Greek vacation for them. And the second one is that they're seeing women here. So this guy's imagination is running wild, and then suddenly something happens, and he's saying, no, it can't be. And then then there's just this one last cry out. So anyway, Wonder Woman is recalling those events, which helps the reader, and I guess it's helping the news viewer too. And Lois is kind of questioning Wonder Woman pretty closely, saying, listen, Paradise Island, Bermuda Triangle, connected? And Wonder Woman is saying, yeah, there is a connection between what had happened with the jet fighter pilot and Paradise Island. She was at the christening of a luxury liner. So as she's sort of helping this multi-million-dollar company, with their commerce, with this goodwill gesture of like kind of breaking the champagne bottle on the side of the ship. Wonder Woman, she was expecting to meet some of her fans. She's actually seeing a very angry protest occurring at this event. Wonder Woman, she doesn't understand. She wants to figure out what's going on. So she leaves the grandstand and she jumps into the crowd. But as she's jumping into the crowd, she realizes that the hostility that the crowd is expressing is toward her. So right now, there are some very angry people who are really ticked off at Wonder Woman here. And she doesn't really know why at this point. I'm going to turn the page. So anyway, a couple of the protesters, they confront Wonder Woman. They attempt to get physical with her. She gets physical back with them. they get concussions. So at this point, these guys, it's a joke that these guys are even approaching Wonder Woman. She's just having her way with these guys at this point. But the thing is, she is concerned about this group, and she identifies this particular group as being a part of the APL, the American Patriots League. And she's saying that explains everything. Quote, "I'm fighting a bunch of misguided crazies. So the reason for their hostility may not be rational." So Wonder Woman is taking a look at this white right-wing group of men and saying, listen, these guys, they're not rational. Going to turn the page. So we see at this point, they're large in numbers, but Wonder Woman is having no trouble handling them. Her magic lasso really is magic at this point, because it's just, this is basically magic. It's not even tethered to any type of physics, what she's doing with the lasso. And furthermore, she's hypnotizing the entire crowd by extending her lasso to the circumference of it. So basically, anyone within the circular area of where the lasso is under the spell of Wonder Woman, so to speak. So she doesn't have to tie up an individual person. She can literally tie up this entire group, because the aura of the lasso and its truth-telling powers is affecting them. So the thing is, at this point, they're kind of hypnotized, and they're obeying Wonder Woman's orders. And then the FBI show up. And Wonder Woman is actually happy about this, because she's saying, oh, you guys are here to arrest me. But the FBI doesn't plan on arresting her. They just simply want to talk to her. But the thing is, Wonder Woman realizes that this crowd is really angry, and they're going to need some type of performative gesture to be committed for them to kind of leave, and disperse quietly. So Wonder Woman is playing the role of someone who has just been arrested. So the FBI agents are going along with this ruse. Just so the crowd feels a sense of satisfaction, and that maybe they'll disperse at this point. Going to turn the page. And again, Kurt Swan draws really beautiful faces, but the inking looks a little sketchy here. I don't know whether it's the scanner or whether that was Vince. I'm kind of inclined to blame Vince. Sorry, Vince. So anyway, Lois is continuing the interview with Wonder Woman. Basically, this is what's going on. A large portion of the American public blames Paradise Island and the Amazonians for what happened to that fighter pilot, that jet pilot. And because this is seen as an aggression toward the United States, there's a portion of the public that wants to declare war on Paradise Island because of this incident. And since Wonder Woman is an Amazonian, she's sort of seen as the enemy at this point. And Wonder Woman, she realizes this, she's accepting this role for now, and she's making that kind of clear to Lois, because, after Lois concludes the interview, so anyway, Lois is pointing out that Wonder Woman said that she agreed to place herself in custody, but she didn't necessarily agree to stay in custody. So it's sort of that distinction that Lois is kind of quietly asking Wonder Woman off the record, because at this point the camera has been turned off. Wonder Woman saying, well, yeah, you kind of have a point. I didn't agree to stay in custody, and that the only way I can clear myself is by solving this mystery as to what happened to the pilot, and I can't do it in this jail cell. So yeah, I'm kind of going to be escaping, but keep it between me and you, and say hi to Superman for me. So anyway, Wonder Woman, she uses her magic lasso, And basically what she's doing is that she's roping the lasso in the shape of a person. So presumably this is going to be her stand-in. And then Wonder Woman is using some cloth to create the illusion that she's sitting there wearing her costume, because this is not an actual person. This is just simply the lasso in the shape, just kind of like, vibrating to kind of mimic movement here. Yeah, this is why Marvel was selling more comic books than DC. Gonna turn the page. So then Wonder Woman, she created her dummy substitute, and then she breaks the bars. She bends the bars, and then this is her escape from jail. And then she's able to get to her invisible jet, and she's taking off, and she's going to fly to Paradise Island. And then she's recalling some events that happened in the previous issue. So this is real continuity here. We see Wonder Woman. She's making a plea to her mom to allow Steve Trevor to stay alive. Because I think the whole thing is that once a man shows up on Paradise Island, it disturbs the natural order there. And men have to be killed, or they have to be taken off the island. However, the death sentence that Steve was supposed to receive, because he was already dead at one point, Wonder Woman has gotten a reprieve from it. So then Wonder Woman and Steve, they go back to New York. At this point, she's Diane Prince. And the two are kind of talking about what's going to be Steve's new life here. Because there's a little bit of Wonder Woman 84 in this. In that Steve kind of was like dead for decades. And then he was returned to life because the character has been returned to life in the TV show. So even though this guy doesn't look like Lyle Wagner, nevertheless, they felt the need to return Steve Trevor to the comic book. And the thing is, Steve has to start this new life after decades of being kind of dormant in a permanent way. Steve is a little self-conscious here because he's going to a hotel room, but he has 2 empty suitcases. So, the guy needs a place to sleep. But Diane's saying, listen, it kind of looks tacky if you don't have any luggage with you, and I'm there with you, because they're going to kind of put 2 and 2 together here, and we don't want our readers to put 2 and 2 together like this. So Steve and Diane, they're talking. Basically, Diane is saying, listen, I don't know why, but you're alive now, and, just go with it. Don't ask too many questions. And if someone asks why you're alive after being dead for a couple of decades, just say, don't really ask about it. It wouldn't have been great if, when the Gwen Stacy clone came back in Spider-Man 143 or so, the people just accepted her. They just said, oh Gwen, I guess you're not dead anymore. Hey, you want to go down and get a milkshake? But that's not the case. But the thing is that Diane's pointing out that, listen, if you tell people the truth that you are dead and Aphrodite brought you back to life, they'll think you're crazy. And Steve is saying, listen, can we just make up something that's a little more plausible sounding? But Diane's saying, no, we got to stick to that. We don't want to ask too many questions. Gonna turn the page. So anyway, Diane, she's forgotten that whole you've been dead for decades, because she wants to go shopping. She wants to show off Steve. She wants to hold Steve's hand. She wants to grab him by the elbow. They're going to be shopping for both, because Steve kind of needs to update his wardrobe. He actually needs a wardrobe. I'm sure Diane's saying, listen, I'll just grab a few things for myself. She's looking really stylish in these green sunglasses here. I'm Again, Kurt Swan, he draws great faces, and Vince can kind of flatten them out a bit. So anyway, Steve is getting a little frisky here. He's saying, hey, a lot of things about me are coming alive right now, especially the thing in my pants here. But Diane kind of throws a little bit of cold water on it, saying she has a headache, and that hey, I'll see you tomorrow. So at this point, their night is ended. Steve wanted to go a little further, but Diane was like, no, not yet. So anyway, we're now out of the flashback, and we're into where Wonder Woman is about to land on Paradise Island. And Wonder Woman is still thinking about Steve. So at this point, her thoughts are with Steve and not with her mission to figure out what happened to that pilot. Going to turn the page. So this is a nice little touch here. Wonder Woman, she doesn't actually land the plane. So Wonder Woman doesn't actually land the invisible jet. She just kind of jumps off it as the invisible jet is skimming the surface of the beach, and it's about to take off. So at this point, the invisible jet is just going to circle the island. At this point, Wonder Woman greets her mom with "Hola." The mom does the same. "Hola, Diane." And then they're talking about, hey, what's going on with that man's world of yours? I've been looking into it a little bit because I have this like magic spear that can spy in on you. So anyway, Wonder Woman is keeping Mom up to date, saying that basically the United States is about to declare war on Paradise Island. The Queen of Paradise Island, Wonder Woman's mom, she's like, oh, that's news to me. And then she mentions the Bermuda Triangle, trying to draw some type of association with what's going on here with the Bermuda Triangle. So anyway, the Queen doesn't understand why something that occurred outside of the island would be affected by them. They stay in their island, they don't leave it, and nothing that happens outside or off the island should be of no concern to the outside world. Then we cut to another part of the island, and we see this beautiful redhead with her headdress. She kind of looks like Josie from Josie and the Pussycats, kind of like Josie's evil sister. Beautifully drawn. She kind of looks a lot like, I guess, Diane Lane. So anyway, she is Pantheon. And I think she's one of the figures that's really powerful on Paradise Island. So if Wonder Woman's mom is the queen, Pantheon would be kind of one of the lords, where they're very powerful in this very small subsection of the island. And all these powerful lords, they support the royalty, the queen. So anyway, she's being informed, Pantheon, that Wonder Woman has returned. The princess. They know her as the princess. They don't think of her as Wonder Woman. And this means that Pantheon has to change her original plans. And she's saying that we need more direct action. What we were doing was sort of indirect and a little sneaky. We can't do that anymore. We actually have to confront the queen and her daughter, the princess. So this is where the scrotum heads come in. We see this contingency of Amazonian guards. And what's happening is that they are demanding that the princess, Wonder Woman, surrender to their authority. Apparently what was going on is that they have a magic spear. The Queen isn't the only one who has this. They've been watching Wonder Woman and watching these events unfolding. Now, the Queen couldn't be bothered to watch, that part of the spear, but they did. And they saw Wonder Woman's actions with the American Patriots League as cowardice. She's the one who didn't want to slug it out with them. She's the one who convinced the FBI to have a ruse arrest. So at this point, these Amazonians, they see Wonder Woman as a coward and as a traitor to the Amazonian women. Going to turn the page. Wonder Woman saying, "What the hell are you talking about?" One of the guards comes first. This is the leader of the squadron. And she is saying that she will not tolerate insolence from a coward. Wonder Woman fights back. And she's slugging it out not only with this squadron leader, but with the other members of the squad. They are using weapons, sharp weapons against Wonder Woman, but Wonder Woman is using her bracelets and her karate prowess to fight back. So at this point, Wonder Woman is holding this squadron of Amazonian guards at bay. Then we see the leader of the squad. She is face to face with Wonder Woman. The two are about to karate chop each other, because even though this captain, so to speak, might not be as strong as Wonder Woman, she's still an Amazonian, so she's still kind of up there. So the two are comparable in strength. They strike together in unison, and the bracelet of the leader of the guard shatters. And Wonder Woman is surprised by this. I'm going to turn the page. So Wonder Woman is saying that, listen, your bracelet broke, and it broke because it's fake. Because there's no other way. The feminium, I don't know, I think that's what they called it. They called it that on the show in that great episode when the Nazis invaded Paradise Island, led by John Saxton. And so this special metal is designed to not break. Even taking a fist from Superman, it might rip Wonder Woman's arm off, but the bracelet would stay intact. So this guard knows that she's been called out. Her bracelet is fake. She acknowledges that Wonder Woman guessed correctly, but she'll get no more knowledge from her, because then she takes a pill and she deletes herself. And she's saying, listen, you'll get no explanation from me. I showed you. Wonder Woman sees that she is dead at this point, because her failure has been exposed. And Wonder Woman is explaining that the fact that she did not have her real bracelets on would explain her behavior in trying to arrest her, because apparently the trope here is that Amazonian women, even though they're free from men and they have their own agency and are all very powerful, they still need those shackles, those bracelets, to be shackled on them. I'm sure this is part of Dr. Marston. He's the man who created Wonder Woman. He was kind of this really weird, crazy psychologist. I'm sure that had to do with probably his fantasies about chaining women, because his mistress, who lived with his wife, and they continued to live with each other after his death, she had a fondness for these bracelets, and those large bracelets were based on her. So anyway, the thing is that if an Amazonian isn't wearing her bracelet, she goes crazy. She is nuts. Wonder Woman is demanding answers from the common soldiery. They were just following orders, but she still wants to get some answers from them. And then we see Pantheon, and she interrupts the proceedings, and she is making it clear that she is the one in charge. So it looks like a coup is happening on Paradise Island, and it's being led by Pantheon. Gonna turn the page. Wonder Woman is surprised by this. She's saying it's a rebellion. Both her and her mom are caught by surprise. We see the scrotum heads. They're coming closer and closer. They're armed with swords. So at this point, they're ready to hack body parts off of these two. Wonder Woman, she goes into action. Even though she's being held by two guards, she's still able to kick the sword out of the third guard's hand. And then she presses her advantage by breaking free of these two scrotum heads. Then she takes those scrotums and she throws them at the other scrotums. So at this point, Wonder Woman has squozed 5 scrotums here. Then Wonder Woman's mom, she gets into the action. I can't pronounce her name, Hypopolioc or whatever. So anyway, she takes these two scrotum heads, and she bangs their heads together. She's like, now you two can make an ass of yourself. Gonna turn the page. So we see Wonder Woman. She's in action. She is noticing what her mom is doing, and she's happy that mom is able to hold her own. But Wonder Woman is also worried about herself. She's under besiege. She's having spears thrown at her. She's having swords thrown at her. But she's able to reach this rocky ridge. And she was able to grab this one large boulder. And as she's heaving it, she's thinking to herself that she probably should have kept her lasso. And the fact that maybe she didn't need to have a dummy there to fool the guards. Because remember, this happened at night, so the lights aren't on. So Wonder Woman is pressing the advantage here, but she knows that she's under weaponized. And Wonder Woman uses her super breath, and then she uproots a couple of trees, and then she karate chops the trees with some type of precise amount of force. This is like a 5-year-old kid playing make-believe on the playground. Gonna turn the page? This is why Marvel was selling more comics than DC. So anyway, the chopping created these wooden sticks, and they're surrounding the rest of the scrotum heads. So they're acting as a prison here, or a cage, I should say. And we see that the Amazonians who remained loyal to Wonder Woman's mom, they're helping to contain the scrotum heads. So the rebellion is being squashed at this point. Wonder Woman is looking for the plotter of this, and that would be Pantheon. Pantheon is already in the palace at this point. She was already going through her coronation in her mind, but this one battle suddenly ended it. And we see Pantheon, she's taking a drink from a wine goblet. And the thing is, it turned out that it's actually poisoned. Wonder Woman saying, listen, that's hemlock. That's a hemlock martini. And no, I'm not going to let you poison your way out of this. So Wonder Woman stops Pantheon from poisoning herself. But she's clearly the winner of this fight. Wonder Woman, she pins what happened to the pilot on Pantheon, saying that, you are the person who is responsible for this. Tell me why you did it. I'm still going to blame you for it, but I want to hear the reason from you. And it turned out it was scientific. When the cloak of invisibility that surrounded Paradise Island was implemented and put into action, this hurt Pantheon's ability to observe the outside world. And because of that, scientific knowledge at Paradise Island has been slowed down. So the thing is that Pantheon was working on a way to subvert the cloak of invisibility, and she was able to do it. So she was quietly turning on and off the cloak. And the others didn't notice simply because they just simply took it for granted that, you know, the cloak was still working. But also because the island is in the Bermuda Triangle, no one's come across it. So Pantheon has been able to turn off the cloak without anyone noticing it. Going to turn the page? Simply because there were no consequences. So what had happened is that she was experimenting on a device here, and there was an overload with this device, and that device broke both her bracelets. And without her bracelets, for some reason, the Amazonian mind just goes haywire. This might be Marston saying, "Hey, we need to contain these women." Marston considered himself, a women's liber, so to speak, but he certainly didn't practice it because he liked controlling his women by giving them the illusion that they were in control. So anyway, without these bracelets, Pantheon's mind, it started running wild. And she realized that, technology stagnated under your mom's rule, and I had to change that. Wonder Woman thinks Pantheon is crazy as a loon. She's like saying the science stuff. What importance could there be in this science stuff? She's nuts for not thinking that mommy doesn't know better. So then Pantheon lets in the part about the pilot. Apparently what had happened was she had dropped the invisible cloak. She had dropped the cloak of invisibility to attract the pilot. But then when the pilot got close enough to the island, she turned the shield back on. So the cloak was activated when the pilot was coming closer and closer to Paradise Island. So basically, she set up this pilot to be killed. Can I turn the page? Oh, so Pantheon, not only was she able to manipulate the cloak of invisibility, she was able to create an invisible shield. Because the island may not have had the shield. They may have had the cloak, but they may not have had the shield. But she definitely had the shield. And the thing is that Pantheon wanted a war between the United States and Paradise Island, and in the chaos, she could take over Paradise Island. Maybe you can rule Paradise Island that way, but you'll be ruling while you're at war. So she clearly didn't think this stuff out. Pantheon, she strikes at Wonder Woman. She hits Wonder Woman with this telescopic device. Wonder Woman is thrown off balance by this. She's knocked to the ground. Pantheon takes the opportunity to run away. Then we see a shot of Wonder Woman we normally would not expect from Kurt Swan. Kurt might have gotten a memo saying, listen, more boys are kind of picking up Wonder Woman because of the TV show. I was a big watcher of the TV show. Maybe we should give them something so they feel like they got a little extra special something for their 30 cents. So they got this nice little photo of Wonder Woman's rear here. She grabs her tiara, and as Pantheon is running out of the room, Wonder Woman throws the tiara at Pantheon's head. So at this point, Pantheon has a really bad concussion. Going to turn the page. Then we have the epilogue. So what's happening here is that Wonder Woman, she's holding the unconscious Pantheon, who is the source of all the trouble. Wonder Woman's mom is securely on the throne. And Wonder Woman's plan is basically this. They're going to throw Pantheon under the bus. They're going to blame this entire international incident on her, saying that no, it was not done with the express permission of the Amazonian government. We had this one rogue agent who's behaving independently. You can try her in your system for murder. So at this point, Pantheon has been thrown under the bus by the entire Amazonian race. Then we go back to New York City. We see Steve and Diane. They're sitting on the couch listening to the news. It appears from these panels that this is an adult relationship. You look at this one panel here where Steve is resting his head on Diane's legs here. She's wearing a short little skirt. Well, maybe not that short. But it's clear that this is an adult relationship, particularly the way they're holding hands. And it looks like Gerald Ford, who I remember Richard Nixon, actually. That's how far back I go. He is telling the nation that listen, this wasn't an act of aggression by the Amazonians, by Paradise Island. This was just one person. And Paradise Island has kind of thrown this one Amazonian under the bus. And I'm going to take advantage of that. And we're going to throw this biatch in prison. We're going to bury her there. So, and the president is saying, listen, you don't have to be mad at Wonder Woman anymore. It kind of hurt her feelings, you guys not liking her and protesting her. Kind of made her cry. You should be ashamed of yourselves. So Gerald Ford is shaming 200 million Americans here. Wonder Woman, she's in tears. That she is now the respected superhero that her branding has brought her. And we see Diane and Steve, and they're about to embrace. And Steve is like saying, that whole thing about, forgetting about me being dead for decades, I've already forgotten it. And I'm going to enjoy being with you. And that's it. And we're told that the next Wonder Woman and we're told next that Wonder Woman faces a villain you'd hate to love, Maximus, Emperor of Hollow Mountain. And the third week of May is when you can expect that. So yeah, the bicentennial hadn't not happened yet, and yet DC isn't selling it on its cover. So that's it for the story. And take a look at this ad. It's for the Treasury editions. These are the two new ones at the time. One was Batman, and there's like 3 pinups of Batman and Robin. I do remember. And they also have a new spread of the layout to the Batmobile. I'm sorry, they have a new spread for what the new Batcave looks like. So they revamped the Batcave. And again, I like these in part because they normally did pick good reprints, and there was always at least going to be one Neil Adams reprint. The second one is more Secret Origins of Supervillains. This is a reprint of the first appearance of these famous supervillains. The cover was always better than the insides, though. So I didn't really enjoy these as much, because sometimes that Golden Age art kind of really bothered me. And we see back issues for the Treasury editions. They printed more of these than they should have. And I had mentioned that these were not returnable. So when the newsstand dealers got them, they were stuck with them. And it was great as a buyer because eventually they would sell. But I would get some real discounts buying some of these old editions that the newspaper guy just wanted to get rid of. And yeah, I remember the Dick Tracy one was really entertaining. I bought that at a flea market. I had no expectations of enjoying that, and I was really riveted by that story. I think it was like Flat Top's first appearance. And they're selling them for higher than the cover price. So the thing is that they upped the price, but they didn't change what's printed on them. You can turn the page. Next is a public service announcement. These appeared in DC Comics in the late 80s. And this is for juvenile courts. And we see some guys, and we see some young teenagers, and they're playing basketball here. So they're playing a pickup game of basketball. Superman is watching them. He's kind of creepily smiling at these young boys who are sweating and touching each other. And then one of them notices someone that they know, Pete. And they see that Pete and his parents are going to juvenile court. And some of their friends are speculating that, Pete's in trouble now. And they're kind of just guessing that Pete's in a lot of trouble here. Superman is saying, listen, you don't know what's going on there. Just because he's going to juvenile court doesn't mean he's going to juvenile jail. And you did not want to go to a juvenile facility, because that's basically gladiator school. So it turns out that Jimmy is actually going to have a new brother. Jimmy's parents adopted this kid, and he's saying, listen, this is my new brother here. And it turns out it's for providing him a foster home. So they're providing this kid a foster home. Superman's saying, hey, you little shits. Juvenile court is more than just punishing kids, and then it does many other things. And this guy here, he helpfully chips in, saying that they make arrangements for foster homes, counseling, tutoring, and they even help out in healthcare. So the juvenile courts do more than just punish. Okay, so lastly, I'm going to go to the letters page, Wonder Words. So the first letter is from Richie. It's complimentary. He did like the story. The story involved Batman here. And he thought the story really worked very well. I think he liked the art too. And just being very complimentary. The second reader is Glenn. He wasn't satisfied with the last few Wonder Womans. And he had questions about buying issue number 222. But he kind of liked where the comic was going at this point. And he wants to know whether she's going to be going back to the Justice League of America. The next letter is Scott. He's saying that he likes Marty Pasco as a writer, but 222 just wasn't a good issue. So this guy didn't like 222. He didn't like the parody of Disneyland, and he didn't accept the overall premise of it. And he didn't like the artist who worked on the comic book, Jose Delbo. And the next letter is from Mike, and he liked the use of continuity here. That if Wonder Woman's going to come back to Justice League of America, he kind of doesn't want things to be disturbed, and he wants the new writer to respect the old continuity. And he pointed to Green Arrow and Hawkman, saying the two didn't really get along with each other in the Justice League of America. They kind of squabbled a lot, and there was a lot of sarcasm. And he wanted that continuity to continue. And so that's what Mike is talking about. And that is my review of Wonder Woman issue number 224, and I hope to have more reviews up soon. Bye.